Okay. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening, wherever you are. Okay. Hi. Um, okay. I'm feeling better. Thank you everybody who's asked. It's just I gotta stay up on my health. So anyway, I was thinking about it because like all of a sudden now I'm getting tons of people who are emailing me things, and I appreciate that. I don't get back to everybody, but I don't feel like every single message deserves a response either. Like I'm working on Aaron's case and I have to be able to filter through stuff because I only have so much time. I think that here to set the stage. Yesterday, I was talking to someone, and they just so happened to bring up Prince, the artist formerly known as Prince. I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, I feel Prince vibes right now, obviously. And he says to me, and this is just out of nowhere, okay? I think we were talking about like brown bears or something, and then the next thing you know, he just says this. He says, do you really think that Prince committed suicide? And I was like, wow. Because this person didn't know. Maybe they did know who I was. I don't know. I never know. Because no matter where I'm at, I become a local celebrity like that. So it's weird. But whatever. Um, I was like, wow, why is this guy asking me this, And I said, well, said to be, if we're gonna talk here, I'm gonna tell you what I think then. I said, no, I don't think he committed suicide. I think that the record labels don't want to pay their artists, okay? And maybe not all of them. Again, I didn't say anybody's name. I'm just saying, as a general rule, there's just companies that they run, and they just don't feel like they need to pay people for stuff. Like it's just like sometimes it's the way the world is. I said so. You know, I think they did a little dabble do ya, and they doused him, and he died, and it took 2 times, just like Aaron Carter. Okay, back to Aaron. I'm just saying, like it was weird that, you know, I'm like. Then I went on to say about. I didn't say Aaron Carter though. I said Whitney Houston, Bobby Christina, Aaliyah, not Selena, because I really do believe that Selena's manager did shoot her just to end it all because she couldn't take it anymore. I'm telling you, when these people harass you, like it drove Yolanda crazy. She was on Xanax, but she's doing her time. You know, but trying to think who else. Elvis Presley. I mean, the Carter family is synonymous with music. You can't deny that. You know what I mean? You can't deny that. But it's like they they never paid these kids what they were worth, okay? And they knock them around, in my opinion, okay, until they shut up. And then when I think Aaron and Nick's relationship was just tumultuous from the start. I mean, if you watch House of Carters, all you're going to see is how much of a control freak Nick is. And Aaron would say that. And so, it was sibling rivalry to some extent. I guess my point with all of this is like, okay, if people like witness testimony is surfacing, okay, um, what are we finding out here? I mean, originally my claim to fame was a legal mafia whistleblower. And so basically, what I go after is corruption. That's it. It's all that I do. It's all that I do. Might throw a piece in here and there about Britney Spears just because, like, she's in that realm. You know what I mean? So I mean, whoever is managing her, someone's got to get her something to do. It's not, it just is like, I mean, you kind of look around at like some of these people and what their lives turned out, and it was like, I was reading about this lady who was on General Hospital, and she just died in a homeless field. And she said that she just died like yesterday. She said that she thought that Hollywood chewed her up and spit her out. I mean, I know that, like, okay, here's what I wanted to talk about. Because I'm getting emails from the fans, and I did this for the fans. Well, I did it for Aaron, but I wouldn't have done it without the fans. You know what I'm saying? By far. Believe me, I know that I did not get to this point in Aaron's story alone. I know that, I tell you all the time. But at the same time, everybody, the deal is you got to be confidential. That's it. Just tell me where the cracks fell through in the legal system, because guess what? I'm teaching everybody in the whole universe. There's this word and it's called corruption, and it's in everything and everywhere all the time. Okay? If you're going to complain about something, be part of the solution. Why be part of the problem? Why isn't it okay that a witness wanted to somewhat bare their soul? Or, you think that, like, let's say people who were involved with, Aaron's conspiracy murder, okay, wouldn't have remorse, wouldn't have regret? Why not? The end result was somebody lost their life. And, the reason why I say that, like, I believe that, like, I will still continue to overturn every stone. You know what I mean? People send me evidence all the time. I post what I can. I have to filter it. You know, I mean, I'm not trying to get myself killed here. No, thank you. You know what I mean? But some of the things that I know that I didn't tell the general public, I did tell law enforcement, and I do have records on it, and I do have witness to that. I have records on it, okay? Because it's heavy stuff. And that's why you really do have the police, okay? And so when it comes to corruption in a legal matter, that's not taken lightly amongst their peers, okay? Because it doesn't speak well for the ones that are doing it the right way every time. So it's a basically maybe a warranty defect or something, but there's nothing wrong with what I'm doing by calling attention to the injustices where Aaron's case fell through the cracks, okay? And so, I mean, I feel like some we have to like come to some kind of agreement here. And again, I'm working with you, the fans, okay? What is it exactly that you want? Because if witnesses are talking now, okay, there's going to be pleas that are going to be done. People are pleading now, okay? So, like, I don't think that you're going to see. I mean, I can't predict the future, but I don't think that you're going to see every single person that was involved do a life term sentence in jail. It's just not reasonable, okay? I mean, I think that you have to take into consideration that you have to give the universe more credit. Because if you're looking for justice in the justice system, you're going to be disappointed a lot, okay? And that's what I write about in my books. That's what my story was about. I only do 2 stories. I do mine and I do Aaron's, and that's it. And I will not do another one. I mean, they say never, but no, no thank you, not at this time. Aaron consumes all of my time, any free time. I shouldn't say all of my time, but a lot of my free time. And so that's enough. I don't want to bite off more than I can chew because I've already bitten off more than I can chew. And so basically, just know that whatever information I don't share with you it does get shared to law enforcement and the appropriate channels and on and on. But at some point, we have to start, the journey to the healing process because, you know, I think Aaron was an example of like, child abuse. And when I say child abuse, it doesn't mean that it was child abuse necessarily against his parents. But according to Aaron, okay, and just the tapes of his words, excuse me, he was abused by his manager, Lori Knight, sexually abused by his manager, Lori Knight. And I think that we look at something like that in this day and age, and we think to ourselves, when was that? That was back when? In 2000, you know? Why with Aaron was it always just falling through the cracks, And the minute he stuck up for himself and he said sexual abuse, that kid's career was over, okay? You could blame it on the Lizzie McGuire or the, I don't know. It's like he'd go out and get these girlfriends, like, it was always like girls were fighting over him. You know what I'm saying? I I don't want to specifically say names, but I think you can catch on what I'm talking when he was the early years, you know. I mean, I saw pictures of him in between like Destiny's Child. Like he was like the white filling of the Oreo cookie, okay? And it was like he was like 12, maybe. I don't know. He just was like this little kid, and these adult women are rubbing on him, and it was like, ew. And so, but with the Me Too movement and the whole, like with these victims getting super high dollar amounts, I mean, the burden of proof is really on the, prosecution with that. And the girls, they got their day in court. They're hopefully, they'll be able to be heard. I think once they're heard and their case is tried, and I like the fact that it was like kind of peppered in 3 different states, so it's 3 different counties. They deserve to have their day in court, and he deserves to have his day in court too. But it can tell you that there's a justice far greater than the justice system. And it's called the spiritual justice, okay? And spiritual justice is the one that people need to be afraid of. Not me. Don't be afraid of me, okay? God sees everything, okay? God sees everything. And you just don't get away with stuff. I'm telling you, you don't. Who cares about the justice system? That's like, I'm seeking approval. I need a judge to verify this point that I am right. No, I went that route for so many years on my case. I tried to get that lawyer. Not one lawyer would go against that lawyer. And I said, okay, go against the whole law firm. Why pick just one? He didn't act alone. So, but it took all this time, and this happened back in 2013, right? It started in 2011, but like literally 11 years ago. And it finally got to the point where I was like, okay, if there's ever going to be a resolution to my case, it would have to be monetary compensation because that's what they're responsible for. They took away my fortune and it wasn't legal. And the whole law firm's responsible. So what I would like to do in my case is have a lawyer represent me in a class action lawsuit along with my siblings against that law firm for destroying our family. That's what I would like. That's my negotiation there. For Aaron's case, I mean, did you know that Melanie's mom, is actually doing the Love Merch line, and that Melanie has a 9 to 5 job. And I do believe that they just confiscated the Riviera. So Aaron had the 3 cars, right? The Bentley got into an accident, allegedly, and so that got taken away from her. And then we're talking about Melvin. By the way, she doesn't like being called Melvin. But, I mean, I guess, is that like the LGBTQ thing? Is it like the him and her pronouns, they, them? Is it like that? Or is that like a dig, like she's a drag queen or something? I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out. I know that if I don't keep up with the youngins, that I'm gonna be left behind in the world. I don't want that. I like to keep up with the lingo. So anyway, she has a 9 to 5 job now, which means that she must have got taken. Her disability must have got taken away. Because remember when she filed for bankruptcy, she had to list that she was getting Social Security income. I mean, she was getting the food stamps, but I mean, even with that, it's like groceries are so expensive, you know? I don't know. It's like you'd benefit from really having your own garden and growing your own vegetables now. Who cares about all that other stuff? Just eat clean. Um, who's talking though with my ramen noodles? But still. But I haven't had those. Um, let me think. So things are being taken. Oh, the Escalade got confiscated too, allegedly. Remember when Chuck was driving it in Arizona? Allegedly. So I don't know. I think that like if someone wanted to say what happened that night and that was their version of events, then there's nothing wrong with me putting it out into the public. I mean, even Kanye West thinks that Aaron Carter was murdered, okay? He he's pinning it on somebody else though. I'm I'm there's no connection with that guy at all. The only connections are with the gangs and the drug cartels, and because it's a deadly drug that took him out, okay? And that's not something you're going to go buy at Walgreens, okay? That's why like that whole Walgreens lawsuit was a joke. It's like Walgreens doesn't carry is I think if Walgreens was doing a prescription that was a lethal dose, that like that shit would have been reported to the cops right away. Okay, I'm pretty sure Walgreens would know if they were dealing in fentanyl. Okay, that didn't come from Walgreens. Besides, what do we know now? It wasn't pills that killed him. It was liquid fentanyl that they shot in between his toes and in his armpit. Not no Xalapram or Xanax or whatever from Walgreens. That's not what killed Aaron Carter. Okay? No. So, a lot of things have been taken away from Melvin. Okay? And we all know how Melvin doesn't like to part with anything, especially anything of value. Okay? Because she feels like possession's 9/10 of the law. But that's why we're here. We're the 1/10. Okay? Yeah, sometimes we do have to tell other people how to do their jobs. Yeah, absolutely. But the only way to fix something is to know why it's broken too. If you want to fix it. I mean, is it a permanent fix? Nothing is. You know what I'm saying? But I think that like what we're doing is we're looking at it from a higher level of intelligence. And, you know, anything that goes up must come down. And I think that if somebody who was there at the scene of the crime wants to find a way to save themselves and save their soul, then they have to bear all, don't they? I think that Aaron's fans are a unique type of people where you're forgiving in a way. I think like more and more of you are coming around with being okay if, let's say, Melanie just gets, slapped with like perjury, okay? And like, you know what I'm saying? Because she's doing her time and she does have the kid, but even though we know it's not Aaron's kid, but Aaron would have taken care of that kid anyway. So Aaron would have been, like, don't make it hard on Franz, because he had it hard on himself. But then there's the moms, and I'm just a fur baby mom, the ones that are like, well, but it still needs to be looked over. You know what I'm saying? Like, it still needs to be like, you know, I mean, people get involved in situations like this, and in the beginning they probably don't know that that's what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to think about it like that too. you know People are like, well, the thing is like, somebody emailed me and said that, like, you know I like to see both sides, but that is the Libra in me. That's my Libra in me, that with the scales, with the justice system, I was just looking for love in all the wrong places all those years. I was looking for justice in the justice system. And then I found out that the justice system is there to protect the criminals. Okay? So that's no place anybody wants to be. You know what I mean? Being in a courtroom sucks. I remember when I was a kid, I told my dad I wanted to go to law school and I wanted to be a lawyer, and he told me, no, you're too good for that. And for a long time, I was like, damn, I really wanted to go to law school, but I just wanted to go just to go. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I read encyclopedias instead. But I still am not great at Jeopardy. I don't know. I think that, and that's an ABC. Okay, found the footage where it said that a neighbor called 911. The fire department said that Aaron Carter drowned in the pool, and they pulled him out of the pool. That was the first call that was reported to Fox Live, that Aaron Carter was found dead at his home and the firefighters pulled him out of the pool. And then the second version was that Betty called 911, and that Betty called 911 and they found him in the bathtub. Well, when his body came out of the house and the coroner had it, he was on the gurney. So, but Aaron pulled himself out of the tub. Aaron died on the floor. So, who said that it was a neighbor that called that Aaron Carter drowned in the pool? Because he didn't drown. But then there was the second version where Betty called. You're not going to see the body cam footage, I doubt it, of that night, because the welfare check was a joke. That was just BS. The police know that they screwed up on Aaron's case, and they know that we know it too. That's why I report back to them, just so you know it was like this. So, so the crime scene photos that were taken at night, and Aaron's wallet was in the Grinch coat. And what I'm saying is that on November 4th, Melvin went to LV and purchased that never full bag, because like in Atlanta, and in the genie Aladdin, the Disney movie, what does the genie say? Oh, that cup over there, the greedy cup, it's never full, dude. It's never full. You can drink out of it, but it's never full. And that's what the never full bag is, right? It's it's like basically a fool's bag. Because it's like whatever goes in there will just never be enough. It's just like a sinking bottom. Maybe that's why she's had so many problems since she's had it. Anyway, interesting it would be to find out if that was Aaron's Wells Fargo credit card that paid for that bag. Melanie was the one that said that she was there the whole time. So, if she was at Aaron's the whole time, but had his wallet to use his Wells Fargo credit card to buy the bag, that a same amount was on the Wells Fargo lien against his estate. I don't know. I think that they took the Riviera. I think the estate took it back. The estate belongs to Jane until they can come up with DNA that would be, they have to do it in front of a judge. You know what I'm saying? You don't, we notified them that we know and that we were covering this story on YouTube, okay? So it's up to them to be liable or not liable, but all we can do is report where the falls through the cracks. That's it. We're just calling justice to an injustice. And I think, like, the irony of it all, I mean, Lake Street Louis still can't show his face on IG. Is he posting on IG? He is. But, like, he's got a mask on, or he's at the gym, or he's taking pictures of food like it's his last supper. I mean, that dude's sweating it out, okay? So, I mean, I think that, like, when something like that happens, an uncomfortable feeling comes over you. You suddenly know that you're being watched, and you know when you're being investigated. You know what I'm saying? You know that you're being investigated, and investigations take time. And so, anyway, my whole point of it is like, thank you for the fan mail. And I know, like, there's people I talk to or whatever. I think that I talk about mostly okay, so I got an email about, let me do this. I got an email about Melanie taking the cameras down with the ADT or whatever. I'm taking the cameras down. The neighbors have camera footage. I didn't say what neighbor. I'm saying that there were neighbors, okay, that have camera footage. The police are aware of it. But the police they have to go to court and get a court order for that. And if the tapes don't exist anymore, then they can get sworn statements from them, people, whoever they were, and say, yes, this is this, and this. But that's whatever part people want to play. It's like seeing an accident, if you choose to be a witness or not. I mean, they can destroy evidence, but they have to kill a witness. So that's why people die, because they destroy the evidence, but the witnesses are still alive. And I think that, like, the whole role that I'm in with Aaron's case Sorry, I know I yawn a lot. Is that I would, the whole point of it would basically just to tie up loose ends. You know what I'm saying? So that's it, really. I mean, I follow up on every lead. We know that the cameras were down. I think it was in the first book. I don't know. The second book is. I'm doing it on YouTube and I'm making all of my lives public. I mean, I just can't type right now. So I'm doing it this way. Um, will it ever be transcribed into a book? Maybe. I'd have to be able to type it first, and I just can't do that right now. I just can't. I don't know. I must have writer's block or. Well, who cares? Don't you like the videos? At least I update you. That's why I felt so bad the other day. I was at the hospital because I had an infection in my jaw. I don't know what happened, but something. And so they had to fix it, and they fixed it. Or I'm on the mend. It's just always something. So, anyway, I just wanted to say, like, okay, let's say all those people that we have were involved in Aaron's crime, in murder, untimely death. If if not all of them go to jail, just know that there's this thing called spiritual jail. And that's kind of like where his brother's at right now, right? In spiritual jail. Like you don't see him around the United States. I think they're down to 4 Backstreet Boys, and the last pictures that I seen of them, Brian was like angry. He looked angry, like he didn't want to be there. But I mean, I guess they're. I don't know. I I just don't know with him being such a faith-based person that like when the guy next to you is being sued 3 times in 3 different states for sexual assault, at what point are you just kind of like, well, maybe there's something to it. You know what I mean? I think the number 3 was the one that was like 3 strikes you're out type of thing, and it's like, I'm glad that they finally put him on the sidelines. But with that, I mean, hopefully he invested very well because the only places that he's performing is like Mexico and maybe South America. Somebody said he was in South America, the brother. So, I mean, they have travel warnings not to travel to Mexico right now because of the cartels are on the beaches with guns. So it's not much of a vacation. Which, like, I can't even believe that my dad let me go to Mexico so many times. But my sister liked it there. We had fun. But it's like not a safe place to go. I mean, there's literally what? How many? 8 million of those asylum seekers? I mean, it's basically just like drugs, terrorism, or get out, I think Mexico is. So I don't know. Anyway, um, I don't want to start getting on like the Trump train. Even though like I'm a Trumper for lifer, dude. I'm a Trumper for lifer. I'm telling ya. If if you could see it from the way that I see it, it's like listen to Kevin O'Leary. Kevin O'Leary will tell you all about Trump, okay? And what does he say? He basically does what the businessmen do. So he got audited. Oh well, they took his cash away because they knew how much cash he had. So now he's looking for um, donors just to get him through to the election. He needs to get by. He even he can't even afford those legal fees. I'm telling you, dude, it's not a joke. It's not a joke. The legal fees will. It's because when you're at the point where the government's trying to cripple you, okay? Because if they can't control you, they're gonna cripple you. okay? And so that's that's their control. That's how they take over. And Trump getting in is paramount to our keeping us keeping our freedoms. Look what happened when Biden was in office. Roe versus Wade got turned. No, I don't want the government to tell me if I can have an abortion or not. That's body control. You know what I'm saying? A woman can become pregnant for many different reasons, okay? Even the Virgin Mary. So, you know what I'm saying? We don't know. It's not for us to judge that. But if it's an option and it's our body and we want to do it, then why not? It would cut down on child abuse. Some women who get pregnant already know that they should not have kids. You know what I'm saying? Um, so why are you taking that away? And then I don't know. It's just a weird thing. I just feel like Biden took away the female right to decide, and it's not right. You know what I'm saying? We're allowing people to decide that if they're born a male, they can be identified as a female, right? That's okay. But it's not okay if the woman doesn't want to have someone's child. It's just ridiculous. It's like a dictatorship, you know? No, I don't think Biden's going to get in. He shouldn't be in there now, okay? And it's like, ask who you want to about whoever you want. Who did you vote for? And the only people I've ever heard tell me that they voted for Biden, okay, were old cat ladies, okay? That's it. And when I say old, it's because he's 82 years old, okay? I'm not age sexism or anything. I just profiled it, okay? And when I profiled it, it was a senior single female with cats. Every time I voted for Biden. So that's why they needed to make up the difference using the USPS with the mail-in vote. That's my theory. That's just my take on the whole thing. And it was an election fraud. And who took Trump down in a financial cripple was the state of Georgia. And who was the governor of the state of Georgia? Who's still alive? Who's been on hospice for over a year? Former President Jimmy Carter. I'm telling you, that's the Godfather, dude. That's the Godfather. In my opinion, when Nick had that tweet that he was going to go watch the Godfather movies, that's who he was talking about. When Aaron was pulled over in Georgia, they didn't even give him a lawyer. They didn't even give him a lawyer. And in Georgia, on the highway patrol, they drive Hellcats, okay? So all I'm saying is like it's still he still runs this country through Clinton, who's out because of Epstein, because he was allegedly with Epstein on the Lolita Express, okay? And they can take their scumbag Bill Gates with them, okay, with Microsoft Windows, that he hasn't been relevant for 20 years, okay? But give it to the new people. Give it to Google. You know what I'm saying? Give it to Google. Give it to Google. Like, he's made enough money. Actually, sometimes people, when they get like insane amounts of money, they start doing creepy, weird things. Okay? That's why I'm like, if Bill Gates was suspected of being on the Lolita Express, like, I believe it, because I remember when he first built his house after he like made his fortune, it had 5 bedrooms and 26 bathrooms. And the contractors went there and were like, I'm like, yeah, right. But that happens with people. The highly intelligent people that think in one direction for so long and they're focused on it, and he wanted to make the computer and that was his calling, and he did it, and he did it with Steve Jobs, and they split up, and Steve Jobs was just as successful as Bill Gates, but they did it differently, you know. It's kind of like I was thinking about, like, so Kanye West said that Aaron Carter was murdered. And people look at Kanye West and so Kanye West is from the south side of Chicago, okay? And so is Jennifer Hudson. And they're like, he may say something and people dismiss it because he's an artist, he's a performer. He's an artist. If we don't have art, we don't have creation or creativity. I mean, they're literally thinking from a different part of their brain and it comes off as abstract. And that's what art is. And like when he speaks his rap words or his songs or whatever, that's his art. And it is art because it's vocal and we can hear it. And that's one of our senses that we're using. So, I mean, he's an artist and that's just the way that they think. So yeah, I respect his opinion. But maybe he doesn't want to say who the real killers are either. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not a comfortable spot to be in. And that's why I'm like, some things are just better left to like the imagination, okay? So, I mean, it's not just no. Even I just know to proceed with caution on that one. But the thing is like, you know, I do agree to some extent that like it's about honoring. I think okay, wait. So I think basically like, because so many of us feel that there's been an injustice made and we're proving it with the receipts, and I post everything on the playlist here on YouTube, okay? That it's like, but what if, or did this happen, or whatever, okay? And law enforcement does watch my page. So that's why I said, if you have evidence, I'm telling you right now, I'm always 100% confidential. I'll never tell the police who you are unless you want that, okay? Otherwise, if you don't want that, then that's fine, because I come at it from a different angle. You know what I'm saying? We're not looking to get everybody, 30 years to life in prison. They don't lock the murderers up like they used to. They do and they don't. Yeah, they make examples of like the kids' parents in Michigan where they bought their son a gun and then he went and killed people at the school, killed children. I believe they were children, like under 18 at the school. And I mean, that's still children. So they're in jail. I mean, that was sending a message. You know what I'm saying? And so when Aaron died, the the lethal dose, the 3 shots that he got was a liquid. It was a like a liquid was it was like a lethal dose, and somebody knew that's what it would take to to unalive that person. That's premeditated. But the person that admitted to administering the shots is in jail. Just so you know that. So the person that said that he killed Aaron Carter is in jail, just so you know. Okay? Jovan Williams, Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, County, that he's back at the Twin Towers, which is basically like he sits in a room with no windows, okay? He's in basically solitary confinement, suicide watch, that like he's basically like not like his life is kind of dead anyway. It's a dead end. Let's put it like that. He's hit a dead end for what he's done. But then what happens is like you want to go after the accomplices, because I think that like one thing that Aaron would say maybe is that what can we learn from all of this, because even as a child and throughout his whole life, all he ever did was look at the bright side of things, okay? And no matter how much he was abused by people, he didn't take that out at the next person, at the convenience store, or some kid that like was riding a bike or some scooter type of thing, a razor, and gave that kid $50 after he did like 5 tricks on the razor, you know? So Aaron like made him earn it, but was very generous with his money. And I think that like, um it's a long story, and there'll probably always be parts of it that over time will just like, if you think of his post death story, his documentary that we make here on YouTube, it's like a piece of mosaic art, and we're just putting it together piece by piece by piece by piece. But um yes, if you have evidence that you would like for me to give to law enforcement, please email it to me at shatteredwindows7@gmail.com. And in the email, you can put in there, I want the law enforcement to know my name or to keep it confidential, and send the evidence and we'll run it. And if it's whatever your explanation is, and I'll submit it to the people that work on his case. Because law enforcement does work on his case. Um, but that's it. I think I have to lay down. But I think I guess I'll just finish with this. I think that when people walk around the earth, that they can't like fool anybody, you know what I'm saying? Because again, come here, Cupid. We are vibrational beings. Okay? We have vibrations. We speak by vibrations. Everything is energy, okay? And we give off that energy. So people can say one thing but act another way, but they're not fooling anybody. You know what I'm saying? Oh, this is Cupid. I have to sew his bunny costume today. I have to sew it because it needs to be it needs to be closed here. So actually, I'm gonna have to do that. Well, I asked my neighbor to do that. Maybe she will. I don't know. They know how to sew, but I could do it. It's not that big. It's like a 2-inch thing. Anyway, I think basically what you're gonna see happen is justice is already playing out, and so maybe just open your mind up to the fact that like karma is the better justice. You know what I'm saying? They can say whatever they want, but if they don't have the receipts to back it up, then it's just hearsay. And I have the receipts to back it up. Say hi, Cupid. Isn't he the best? I swear. I don't know how I was so lucky to get such a beautiful dog. Cupid. Cupid. Isn't he so cute? Okay, I'm gonna go cuddle with my Cupid. I hope you all have a great day. Namaste.